Ready.
Welcome to another episode of Two Ales and Hockey Tales with Wally. And today I'm so excited to have on a 44-year-old from Elmira, Ontario, Canada. His hockey journey took him to Canada, the USA, Denmark, Germany, and Austria. I was his super fan and watched from a young boy's eyes as he helped the Elmira Shurikings march to a Cherry Cup and Sutherland Cup titles for the first time in franchise history. And he ran amok at RIT. One season having 61 points, 24 goals in 23 games played, became a legend with the Amarillo Gorillas, winning Rookie of the Year one year, scoring championship and league MVP, a staple of the Frankfurt Lions, and became a deutche meister like yours truly. But his is a real one in the first league, mit ERC Ingolstadt. And he even laced up for Canada a couple times. Welcome to the shed, Derek Hahn.
Thanks, buddy. Good intro.
Thanks, man. I've been practicing your episode 113.
Yeah.
So I get into how we know each other. Actually, we should probably start off with the last time I would have saw you, or the only time we've hung out was Craig Freedy from Elmira. Yeah, he's from Elmira, Ontario. He's coming to visit you. Well, he was your best man, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was. Big Dutch. He was a good fella.
Yeah. So, well, he's still alive. You don't have to say it like that.
Yeah. Oh, past tense. Sorry.
Yeah.
Still is a good fella. Yeah.
But anyways, he was coming over to Frankfurt, and I just happened to have the weekend off playing. So we decided, Lisa and I headed up and stayed at your house for at least a night, right?
That's right.
I got to tell the story.
Yeah, one night. Yeah,
I'm going to tell the story. Okay. I'm going to tell the story because I thought it was hilarious. Okay. I still think the story's funny. You had a game the next day when we got there. I didn't have to play. So Dutchie and I wanted to give her. So we went out to eat, went out for steaks at that gorgeous restaurant that we should talk about where you cook the steak at your table. But anyways, then you head home at a decent hour because you're a pro. You want to be a good player and you go home, and Dutchie and I hit the town, Frankfurt. And then when we got back to your house, which is impressive, you had a house in Germany. But Dutchie and I wanted to listen to tunes and stay up, but we didn't want to wake you up. So do you remember what you came out of your room to?
Yeah, you two sitting on the couch, sharing a set of headphones, sitting beside each other.
We had one earbud in each.
Yeah. Yeah, I do remember that. Yeah, and I think your wife was sleeping on the couch beside y'all.
And we were sitting on the couch head to head. I think I was using the right and he was using the left.
Yeah, you guys were leaning towards each other. That's right.
Just rocking to tunes.
I remember that.
Yeah, I still remember that because the look on your face when you saw us sharing headphones. We were just trying to be courteous. We knew you had a big game and you played well and you won, right?
I don't remember if we won or not, but I do remember you and Freedy sitting on the couch.
So do I. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you won. Okay, so I guess that's the other parts of how we know each other. We are both from Elmira, Ontario, right? 6 years apart, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we didn't really know each other, really. Like, I knew of you because I was a super fan of you guys when you were in Junior B, right?
Yeah, no, we didn't really know each other before you came to Frankfurt, really, I'd say.
And that's just being a nice guy. When Dutchie's like, I'm going to bring this guy and he's going to stay the night with his wife. Okay. And you're like, okay.
Yeah. That's how Dutchie rolled.
Well, it worked. It was fun night.
Yeah, it was fun. Yeah.
That restaurant was cool, eh?
Yeah. I forget what it was called, but yeah, they bring you like a hot stone and you cook the steak on it. I forget what it was called, but it was a good one. We went there a lot.
I felt like I was in the DL that meal.
Well, your old team is now, isn't it?
Bietigheim is, yeah. But
yeah.
You know what? They asked me to kindly not come back. That's fine. Man, but yeah, they moved up, but they probably struggle, I would think, in that league.
Yeah, I don't know how they're doing this year, but I think they were having fans and now they're not having fans anymore. I'm not sure how It's working.
You're starting to sound quite American, aren't you?
Yeah, I've been here a long time, buddy.
So, yeah, we're both from Elmira. We'll get into that. We talked about Freedy and yeah. Okay. The other time we know each other though, before we move on and get into all that is, we played against each other. Frankfurt versus Bietigheim, 2008-ish.
That's right. Yep.
Yeah. You were the big dog in the DL. I was slumming away in the second league, and I think we put up a pretty good fight against you that game. And that was the year we won it.
I think you guys beat us.
I didn't know if I was misremembering, but we did beat some DL teams for sure.
No, you guys beat us. I'm pretty sure. And I think you either had at least a couple points in that game.
Yeah,
I remember.
That would have been my best year of hockey. That was the year before the knee injury when she all went downhill.
I got you.
Yeah. Tough times. Okay, but yeah, I remember that. You were the first line like DL, and I was like, geez, I really want to play in that league, and then just never happened. Never panned out. But you ended up winning the whole thing, eh?
We did, yes, sir. Should have won it a second time the next year too, but
both with Ingolstadt.
Yeah, the year we won it, we probably shouldn't have won it. But then the next year when we lost in the finals, we had a lot better team, and we should have probably won that year, but we didn't. So
okay.
But,
yeah, that's how it happens. So
yeah.
Where and what are you doing now?
Now I'm in Amarillo, Texas.
With a twang in your voice.
That's right. I'm married with 3 kids. And I'm selling cars for Toyota.
Selling cars for Toyota. So like in a dealership?
Yep.
And how long you been doing that?
Pretty much since I retired. And when did I retire? 16, I think. So it's been about 5 years now.
You know what? I actually looked at that. You retired the same year as me. Our paths never really crossed that much, but we were in Germany the same years. Like I was all 6 years I was there. You were there, just different leagues.
Yeah. Right.
Can du sprechen ein bisschen Deutsch?
No, not really.
You were there for like 10 years, man.
I know it. It's pretty sad.
Really?
Yeah.
That's the DL though. That's the difference between the second league is there's not as many imports. So you got to kind of embrace it more, right?
Well, the way it worked for me when I first got there, like I went from Denmark first, right? And then I kind of got
from there. Yeah, you went from there to there.
Right. But I kind of got lucky getting on with Frankfurt. And so I didn't even know how long I was going to stay. So I didn't after I signed 1 year, my first year, and then I signed a couple other for 2 more years, but I didn't think I had a great first year. So I was like, I don't know how long I'm going to be here. So I didn't really embrace it, and I should have right away.
But that's what happens, right? You go over there and you don't know how long you're going to be there. For myself, right. I was on 1 year contracts my entire career. So you first get over there, like, what's a 1 year deal? You're not going to go take the time to learn German when you think you're there for 8 months. But then all of a sudden I'll never forget. Right. I'm out with my buddies Hammer and Geipe the last episode, and one of them just said to me, he's like, come on, Waldo, like it's been 4 years. You can speak German by now. And I didn't have the confidence, right? Because they shoot you down a few times when you try it. And then you just don't try it. And then it took about 6 to 7 beers. And all of a sudden I could actually speak German. Yeah. I didn't even know I could do it.
Yeah, it happens that way.
You are American, eh? And now you're dipping too. I love it.
Yeah, I've been dipping for a long time.
A lot of hockey players have been. So you got kids?
I do. 3 of them. Addison's my oldest. Logan is the middle, and Brody is the youngest.
Sorry. So what do you got? I was listening to names and I was kind of blanked out. You got a girl?
She's the oldest, and then 2 boys.
Okay. Are they playing hockey?
Logan's played a little bit. Brody's 5. We're thinking of getting them in, but we're not sure yet. They got a pretty good little youth program here. So a couple guys I played with when I played for the Gorillas are still around. One of the guys' name's Austin Sutter, and he's kind of taken over the youth program here. So they have quite a few kids, and they get the Dallas Stars Learn to Play program, which it's pretty cheap to get all the equipment. It's kind of a way they get people involved down here to start them in hockey. So they actually just built another rink for the youth program. So now we got 2 rinks in town here in Amarillo, Texas.
So are you part of hockey at all anymore?
Not overly. I just don't have the time to do it. I'd like to be more involved, but it's just tough right now with the 3 kids. They're doing other sports, football, baseball, basketball.
Because you're American
like
now.
that.
You're not
Well,
living in Elmira no more.
No, this is Texas. Football,
baseball, football. Yeah.
Yeah.
So when they're playing football, are there kids that are they playing full tackle, and are there some injuries at young ages or not?
No, right now it's just flag. He could play. My middle could play, I guess, pads, but I don't see the need for the pads yet. So,
right,
because I don't want him to get injured yet. I don't want him to.
Where were your kids born?
All here.
Really?
Oh, yeah, timed it right.
Yeah. Well, you always put up a lot of points. Real goal scorer. Yeah, that's interesting because we had to time it the opposite way. We had to time it in season because she wouldn't have health care in Canada when we were home for the summer, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So
well, you didn't get, because I had German insurance and we had the kids in the US and it covered it, but I had to pay for the kids being born. I just had to pay, and then I had to turn in all my receipts to the German.
Oh, you were into something different than me. We just did it. We just straight up had the baby in Germany.
Well, I heard it's pretty good over there. Lots of people had them over there, and it's pretty.
It was everything went well. Yeah. And the only thing was, my German was pretty good, but the medical German of having a baby probably wasn't my strong suit, and my wife's German wasn't nearly as good as mine. Sorry, honey, but mine was a lot better, and they were having me translate to her what to do, and she obviously wasn't in that good of a mood a lot of the times. So when I'm I think they said push, then I just had to start saying it with confidence. Yeah, they said push. Yeah.
Push. Yeah. It's time to go.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Don't be so angry. It's almost over. All right. So random question, because when I put on Instagram, are you on Instagram?
Nope.
Couldn't find you. I knew it. Okay. When I said you were coming on, fan from Germany said, ask him about the longest shootout ever that he was in the penalty box for.
Yeah.
Do you know what that is?
Yeah, I do. I was playing for Straubing at that time, and we tied the game. We were in overtime in the last shift of the game. I forget. I was in front of the net or something, and I gave a guy a little cross check, a push cross check, nothing bad. And they gave me a penalty right at the end of overtime. So I went to the penalty box, and this shootout, I think it's a record, or it was, unless someone beat it. I forget how many shooters, 20 aside, maybe, kept going.
And you just sat there and watched from the penalty box.
I had to sit there. They wouldn't let me on the bench, and I just sat in there. And at some point, Brandon Dietrich, he was hurt, but he was on Munich's team, and he came down and sat with me in the penalty box for a while. I mean, they went on, golly, I don't know how long, almost an hour, I think. I don't know. It was the longest thing ever. Yeah.
Well, shout out to Dietz. He was the one that got me to Germany. I'm still been trying to get him in my shed, but he's been dip dodging me. But oh yeah, punk. But yeah, he was the reason I ever got to Germany, because he wanted me. I still remember that. I just want you to come to my shed, Brandon. Come talk to me. Yeah. So then if you were in Straubing for a year, then you would have played with 2 former Potters. The left side of your decor would have been Kelvin Elfring and Andy Canzanello.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I played with those guys.
Yeah. Cans, he's a character, isn't he?
He is a character. Yeah. I haven't talked to him in a long time. Last I heard, he was living in Vail, I think. I don't know.
Yeah, that's still where he is. Yeah, we had quite the pod. He was in one. It was fun. It was good.
He?
Oh yeah, it was a hoot.
Yeah, Kenzie was a good dude.
Oh yeah. Okay. So growing up in Elmira to the Sugar Kings. Talk to me. Go for it. Tell me the story. I always tell people I know what it's like being from Elmira, but nobody else does, right? So talk to me.
Right. Well, you grow up watching them, and that's what you want to do, and that's the team you want to play on. And then for me, it took me a while. I forget.
You never
how
played
old I was.
AAA or anything, right?
No, I just played the midget with Woolwich, and then it was my last year in midget. And I think if I didn't make the Kings that year, then I would have probably been playing high school hockey because there was no other place to play. So
you're probably the latest bloomer in pro hockey history.
it took me a while. Yeah.
Well, it's just interesting because every year you kept getting like quite a big jump each year when the research team was hot. And like by the end, you're playing for Team Canada and you're getting a point a game in the DL. And it's like, this guy wasn't even getting like a scholarship to a Division I school.
Right. Yeah. It took me a while. And even in university, I mean, my first couple of years, it was all right, but not great. And then my third year, I obviously had a great year. And then, my fourth year, I was ineligible to play because I went to Conestoga College while I was playing for the Kings. And so I had to sit out that year. I got to practice one day a week. And from there, I went to the East Coast League, the Atlantic City.
Okay, hold on. Okay. I this is all part of my questions. We got to go back. Okay. Don't get too far ahead of yourself because I knew about that. Your clearinghouse issues, eh? So you took more than 2 classes at Conestoga College, jammed you up, eh?
Yeah, I was going full time because my mom didn't want me just to sit around and play for the Kings.
And you don't know if you're going to get a scholarship or not, right? And then you lost a year NCAA then. So it's your senior year after you get a goal a game.
Yeah.
So you could have left and played pro instead of finished school, but
you're
Division III.
Right. And every guy that had left the school in previous years, you see him bounce around the coast and this and that. And I was like, no, I'm just going to stay here and finish my classes.
What'd you take in school?
Try business management.
Me too. Okay.
It's kind of a broad degree. I don't know.
It is a broad degree. You're right.
Yeah.
Okay. So anyways, you know what? I think we also had the same minor hockey coach because he would always tell me about how much better it was to coach you than me. Brian Shellhorn.
Yes, I remember him. Yeah.
He was my major peewee coach.
He coached me. When did he coach me? Was it midget? Did he coach me?
Yeah, midget? I think he would always say when I coached Derek Hahn and midget, he would do this, this, and this. And he's like, you don't do that. Like, you don't pass it. And I'd be like, well, it's nobody open.
Well, I should have shot more anyways.
Yeah, you should have.
Yeah. I was always told that.
Yeah. I can give you a player review if you want, but that's what I've been doing for everybody. But I know you from when I was young, so it doesn't even count. I should be able to give a player review on you. Anyways, do you want it?
Sure.
You ready?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're responsible all over the ice, always on the defensive side of the puck, but you're also the team's top scorer and one of the leaders. You're not that vocal in the room. You just go about your business. You just do your thing. But when you go on the ice, you do everything correctly, everything the coach asks. And you're on the power play, you're usually the half wall guy. But when you get the chance to walk in and rip it, you usually don't because you want to dish it. You want to set up the 1T. How'd I do?
That's pretty close.
Is it? Good.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah, that's my thing. All I need to do is bring a guy out to my shed and then watch him play one time. So anyways, the Sugar Kings, you guys, you scored a huge goal that I remember as a kid when it was like not even the quarterfinals or semifinals against Kitchener. Do you remember that game?
Mm-hmm.
Double overtime.
Yep. I think
there might have been too many people in the arena. We may have been over the fire code limit, you could say.
I would agree with you. Yeah.
There were people like hanging from the rafters, like actually.
I remember getting to the games. Heck, I don't know when we were supposed to be there, 5:30 or whatever it was. And like there was people already going in, setting their blankets down, and it started getting exciting then, you come into the rink and I forget where we finished that year. I don't even know, but once we started winning a few games in the playoffs, then it was getting pretty good.
I think I was in like grade 8 or 9 when that was happening. And my goodness, the town was a buzz,
It was. It was, yeah.
Actually, I might have been grade 6, but yeah, it was as exciting of hockey as I've ever seen when you guys marched to the championship, eh?
Yeah, no, it was fun. And I think the biggest thing was the two guys we got from the Siskins, Brandon Dietrich and Rob Collins. And I don't know who pulled that off, but whoever did.
Yeah, it really changed the whole Sugar King franchise history, right? Because without those two guys, you're not winning it. But the thing is like, yes, you never got enough credit. But then I always look at it as like, you need some flair too. If you're the player like you are, when you're playing second or third line of junior B, for you to get attention, as you guys had to win. You had to get scouts to the games in those final games for them to see like, well, why is this team winning? Well, look at this guy scoring the big goals at the end of the game, right? And he's playing defensively sound hockey.
Well, I think the big thing for when the Sugar King started being good is also just like you're a hometown kid. You need hometown talent to actually have a good junior team. You can bring those guys in, but if you don't have guys from home, and you guys won it too, right, Wally? Didn't you?
We won it all, and we had, I think, 5 guys on the team that were my age from Elmira.
Right. Like, that was a big thing. Yeah.
Oh yeah, we had a lot of local guys, and that is what it took. But it's so fun, man, when the Sugar Kings are good. And we were in like high school, and you're winning the Sutherland Cup. Like, that's living, isn't it?
Yeah. It was fun.
You got to go on the fire truck ride too?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. We lost in game 7 the second year. Is brutal.
That's what we did too. Niagara Falls.
Right. Still stings, doesn't it?
Year. It does. Yeah. Should have won.
I know. Yeah. Whatever. Okay. So then, was Clippy around? Clippy's still around. Did you know that?
Yeah. Clippy sends me messages every now and again. I think he keeps up with a lot of guys.
Man, he's a machine. That guy's been doing it forever. He was my grade 6 communications teacher.
He was my grade 6 art teacher.
Yeah, man, he can do it all. And rumor has it, he's the one that like let a lot of NCAA teams know about the guys in Elmira back in the day, right? When there wasn't the internet and everything there is now.
Yeah.
So shout out to Clippy.
Clippy's awesome. He used to get, I don't know if your team went on visit to a certain school or something, but I mean, he got us, I think we went on a visit to St. Lawrence and Clarkson as a team just to kind of see what college is kind of like.
Well, and if you didn't see that, it changes your whole mindset of what you want to do. And they did do that. My rookie year, we went to an Ottawa 67s game to see the OHL and St. Lawrence. And then we also went to Ferris State to see Collins play. So like, and you see those schools and you see the bands and you see like the talent and like the hype, and you're just hooked, right? Yeah.
It's a good deal on that. I think that was all Clippy's doing. Yeah.
Well, and then it brings your team together too in Elmira, right? You go on a team trip at the start of the season. That's how the boys bond, right?
Right. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Clippy.
So then, anything else about Elmira before we move on? Do you get back there much anymore?
Not much, because the folks moved up kind of close to you now. They're down Concession 8 near Tiverton. And,
really?
Yeah, they've been there for a while now. So my aunt and uncle still live in Elmira, but with COVID and stuff, I haven't been up there in quite a while, and I don't. It's tough. So.
Oh yeah. Wow. Yeah, if you come home, you're probably heading to see the folks, right? Tiverton. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mhm.
Anyways, then okay, so the clearinghouse, that's on my notes is the question mark because I knew something had gone down there. But how did you end up in RIT, and were there any NCAA or what Division I schools looking at you? How'd you pick RIT?
So, I mean, they had come to a couple games, gave me, a bunch of stuff on them, and coach came to the house and visited. But I was talking to Brown University because I took the SATs. I didn't even know what they were. I just took them one day and scored good enough that I could get in. I didn't have to retake them. And so I was talking to Brown, but Brown had told me because I was going to Conestoga that I would have to sit out my first year and I could play the next 3 years, but they weren't even going to give me a full scholarship. So I was like, nah, I'm not going to do that. But with the Division III RIT, they were like, you can come right in and play. They never told me I couldn't play my last year. So I didn't know that until after the third year was over and the athletic director said, you're done. You can't play. And I was like, what? And
so you didn't even know that you had broke the rules?
No, I had no idea. And I didn't know till she told me at the end of my third year. And I did a petition to the NCAA.
Yeah, I didn't know. Sorry.
They didn't. Yeah, because there is something in there. If you were misled about your eligibility, you can get another year. And I was like, I felt like I was misled. No one told me I only had 3 years. I didn't ask, but so that's the way that went down. But
interesting. But after the year you have in Division III, 61 points, jeepers, that sucks. You had to sit out that next year, eh?
Yeah, it sucked big time. Yeah, I got to practice on Tuesday mornings for power play practice, and I had to be a defenseman on the PK.
And that's all you did for that whole year? That's all you could get in?
That's it.
So then you finish school, and then you're like, okay, I'm still giving pro a shot, even though I took a year off, right?
Yeah, so a guy that had been at the school, he had graduated the year I was coming in. His name was Matt Thomas. He coaches University of Alaska Fairbanks now, maybe. But he ended up being an assistant coach with Atlantic City, and his brother worked at RIT, and we would skate in the summertime. I would skate with some of the Rochester Americans and things like that. And he had told, his name's Matt Thomas, they call him Tito, another guy on our team, Jerry Galloway, who was, I think he won player of the year in Division III as a defenseman. Anyways, he signed with him, and his brother told him he should sign me too. So they did. And we went to camp. I didn't have a great camp right away, but I did good enough that they kept me around. But then they would put me on 7-day IR, take me off, 14-day IR. And that went on for, 3 months. I played 2 or 3 games, maybe.
That was with the Elmira Jackals?
No, that was with the Atlantic City Boardwalk Bullies. I went and played with the Jackals just one weekend while I was going to school my last year.
Oh.
They were shorthanded, and they're like, they called, and I said, yeah, I'll go play. So I went and played. Well, the coach told me, well, I thought we weren't going to have enough guys, but we do. And so I was like, do you even need me to dress? He's like, yeah, dress. And for the first 2 games, I just dressed and sat on the bench. I never got one shift. And then the third game, there was a bunch of fights and guys were getting kicked out. So I finally got in. I think I had an assist, but and then I went back, and he's like, I'll call you. I'm like,
you know what
no,
I find very interesting about your story though, just so you almost are done hockey after midget because you have to make the Sugar Kings are kind of bust.
Right.
And then you make the team, but then you score all these big goals. And each year you just keep getting better and better and better. Then you only get to Division III instead of Division I, but then you're just so much better than anybody by the end. And then in pro, you literally got no chance again. And then you end up on Team Canada. That's funny.
Yeah.
Funny stuff. Yeah. Okay. Do you find it interesting or no? Because I do.
I do. I mean, I tell the story. There's so many like.
Do you think it's because you never
different-
went triple A and never were around the high talent and stayed single A, or why do you think you're such a late bloomer? Because what I notice, and I'm only going to say this, is a lot of people I talk to in the shed seem to be from small towns in Ontario or small towns that guys that never did make it, but a lot of them never really deep down believed they could make it, never really pictured it, never really thought they could make it, and they didn't realize they were as good as they were, but they got pretty close.
Uh-huh.
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it was, I mean, coming out of midget, I wasn't sure. I mean, you go to the Sugar Kings training camp and you think you do all right, but you're not sure. And they're bringing in guys from Thunder Bay, Sault Ste. Marie, all this kind of stuff. And, you're fighting with other guys you're growing up with. I forget, I think Scott Sealing made it before me, Kyle Grundy. A few other guys were making it, but they were a different type of player than I was.
Yeah.
And, but yeah, that next year, I don't know. I don't think our team was real good that year when I made it because, we weren't very good. I don't know where we finished, but yeah, I don't know. There's so many different things that could have occurred that just would have derailed my
Everything that
career.
happened. Yeah. It's just how far it went and how long it went, how like just the gradual climb here at the start is quite interesting, right?
Well, even leaving Atlantic City, the head coach was Mike Havland, and I'm not sure where he's coaching now. I think he was assistant coach with the Blackhawks at one time. He's a good coach. But I went into him and I said, I just want a chance to play.
Yeah.
I don't care where it is, just because like you say, I wasn't getting a lot of opportunity, but finally I started feeling more comfortable in practice. I'd be doing things against the guys that are playing. I'd be like, I had a pretty good practice today. I wonder, am I ever going to get a shot?
And in practice, you usually know when you can play or not, right?
Yeah. And so he's the one that ended up getting me to Amarillo. He knew the head coach here, and he's like, all right, go there. So I loaded up my soft top Jeep and drove 26 hours to Amarillo, Texas.
You did have a soft top Jeep. It was cool. I remember when I was your super fan. God, you cruise around
soft
town.
Windows.
Holy moly, you cruise
thing.
around town with your blonde hair and your soft top. And I was like, geez, that's living, folks. It gives you something to aspire to in a small town, Ontario, Oh, shit. So that's how you got to Amarillo. And then you, you get a chance when you get there, eh? And then you find a home.
Yeah, it was, again, the first game, I think, first shift, we're playing in Austin, Texas. And my first shift, I lose my guy. He scores. I get benched. And I'm like, here we go. And this was going to be it. If I didn't make it here, I was coming home.
Yeah.
But I played the rest of the game. We ended up winning 2-1. I didn't do anything. It was a home and home. So we came home, played them again, beat them again. I think it was 2-1, 3-1, something like that. But I think they were first place. And when I got here, the team was 7 and 8, maybe. So middle of the pack, maybe. And I hadn't done much, but he kept me around next. And then the third game, I think we were playing El Paso, and I had a goal and assist, I think, or maybe 2 goals and assists. And after that, that was it. And then I had a good year as far as a rookie goes. And
I find it interesting because you're a guy from Elmira that nobody knew anything about, plays Division 3. And then like the guys that are a first rounder that were, say they hit puberty, like before other guys, and like they're big, huge guys, but like, and they go first round and then they just stop getting better. Like those guys kept getting chances over and over just because of where they were drafted, right?
Yeah. I mean, you play with a lot of them. I played with and against a lot of them over in the Dell. I mean, first round guys, big signing bonuses.
Oh yeah.
And you're, for a guy like me, I'm expecting this guy to just be
so good,
so much better. And you just keep getting confidence in yourself because you're like, he's not that much better than me, if at all. Like,
I don't know if that's an Elmira thing, because I was the same way, man. When I went to the AHL, I went on the ice and I'm like, well, I've seen some of these guys on TV, and I was like watching them play instead of playing myself.
Yeah, it happens. I mean, it's crazy, but it does happen. And yeah, I mean, I was still growing. I remember I fractured a bone in my shoulder when I was 23, I think, in college, and it was a growth bone. And the doctor said, "How old are you?" And I'm like, 23. He's like, "Huh." He's like, "You're still growing." So yeah, I kind of just grew a little bit, each year. And yeah, I think my best years were probably in my early 30s when I felt the most confident and strongest, I would say.
And I felt like I was still learning a lot about hockey myself as a player. It's just my knee wouldn't keep up with my brain. I could see the play I needed to make, but like at the end, I couldn't make that extra step, or I couldn't like stop up quick enough to like get it around the guy. But I knew what play I used to be able to make. Yeah.
It happened to me when I got older.
Yeah. Well, it happens to people, but anyways,
right.
Okay. So what's Amarillo like? I've never been to Texas.
Amarillo, it's up in the Panhandle. It's kind of flat, windy, dry. It could be 80 degrees one day and 30 the next. I mean, it's a little bit of everything. Oh, my wife just said it's God's country. So
God's country. And the Panhandle is something to do with Pensacola, Florida too, because that's where I was on my way to when I turned around and went to Germany. That had something to do with a Panhandle, right?
Yeah. So like the Panhandle, they call it, it's the little, on the top of Texas, the little square up top. Amarillo is right in the middle of that. And so the Panhandle of Florida is kind of, I think, the offshoot. You know how Florida goes down, and then there's the offshoot this way. I think that's where Pensacola is in there.
Yeah, down. Yeah. Okay. So so people, what do they like to do for fun at Amarillo? Football and baseball.
Yeah, football, baseball. Love the Cowboys.
Yeah.
Lots of.
Are you into that?
Ranching around here? Yeah, I like football. I'm big into football. Big into fantasy football. I don't know if you play fantasy at all, but I'm big into fantasy football.
I only did a year or two with hockey teams, and it would get me so into football that like it would take over, right? I'm kind of happy I'm not into that. This is taking over now.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
Yeah. So you just gotta have something to be into, right?
That's right.
Anyways, okay. Where are we? We're in not Fort Worth. Gosh darn it, Amarillo. So, favorite restaurant in Amarillo?
Favorite restaurant in Amarillo?
Favorite restaurant in Amarillo, Texas, from Elmira, Ontario, folks. In the shed tonight, Derek Hahn.
I guess Sakura. It's a sushi restaurant, I'd say, is my favorite one.
Sushi, eh?
Yeah.
I would have thought in Texas it was going to be some kind of barbecue, but you're going sushi on me, eh?
Yeah, I'm going sushi on you.
I actually think when we went and visited you, it was one of my first times ever eating sushi because Frankfurt had it.
Yeah, they had good sushi there. I remember going to all sorts of all-you-could-eat sushi for like $15 or something. It was good. It was good.
You're right. Sushi is good. Worst thing, I like cooking now, or do, and I tried to make sushi one time when I was playing in Denmark. It cost me a ton of money, tasted like shit, looked like shit. It was awful, and it took me all night.
You know who made good sushi? Robbie Collins. Like,
really?
When I went, you go play there and you're staying the night, and he's married to my cousin, obviously, Stacy. And so I would always go over there for dinner and a couple beers the night before. And he made sushi one night, he's rolling it up and all this.
So he can do it?
Good. Yeah, he had the whole deal, like the bamboo thing.
You've seen him stick handle. He would be able to handle that. I couldn't do it.
He's pretty slick. Yeah, you got that right.
Yeah. Slickest guy on the ice I've skated with. I think literally, like, of all the
I would say
NHL
that.
players anywhere else, like, he makes people look stupider than anybody in the summer.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was pretty filthy.
Yeah. I never really I only played like an exhibition game against him like I did against you. That's about it though, because I guess you guys are like 6 years apart from me. It's quite a bit in the hockey world.
Yeah, we're a tad older than you were.
Yeah. Well, we're all old now. Okay. So this is a story I think I remember. Has Craig Freedy, your best man there, has he ever dropped the puck in Amarillo?
He has. He has. He's been on the radio down here. And then I forget how we made it happen, but we made it sound like he was the mayor of Elmira. And so him and my sister put my jerseys on, and the GM of our team said, yeah, they can drop the puck. So they came down and they dropped the opening ceremonial puck of a game, and they introduced him, I believe, as the mayor of Elmira.
He was telling me about that right before, like, we put our headphones in together.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was proud of that story, and I think it's great.
It is. It was hilarious. And, he's on the radio with the radio guy.
What's he talking about on the radio? Like, about you?
I don't know. I think he was color commentating. I'm not sure what he was doing. I never listened to it, but he would get up there. I think we were playing in Lubbock the time he got up there in an away game, and he's up with the radio guy talking on the radio. I mean, Freedy is.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
But good stuff.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I could just picture him walking out, them saying he's the mayor of Elmira.
Mayor of Elmira. Yeah.
He's like, what, 25 years old at the time?
Yeah. Yeah.
The mayor of Elmira.
He just loved it. Oh yeah.
Oh God. Okay. So each year there though, you do keep getting better and better. But what's life like in the Central Hockey League? I never played there. Is it travel tough back then, or was it mainly in Texas?
I mean, there was a lot of teams in Texas in the Central League, but no, I was long road trips, man. You got the sleeper bus, and you're playing Friday, Saturday, Sunday afternoon, and maybe Saturday you're playing in Austin, and you got to drive 10 hours, and then you got to play the next day at 3 p.m, and you're not making much money, but you're having fun, right? Like, that's kind of what it was. It was almost like being in college, getting paid a little bit, kind of putting off real life.
Yeah, that is what it is.
It wasn't until, I went overseas and started making a little bit more money where I took it a little more serious, but it was fun. I mean,
how much you get paid can depend how serious you take it too, right? Like,
right. Yeah, that's true. I mean, when I got to Amarillo, I remember signing my contract outside of the Austin ice rink on a chair, because you had to get dressed in almost like a portable, and then you had to walk outside to get into the arena.
Sounds
and I
awesome.
signed it right there. And I asked the coach, I'm like, do I need to read this? He's like, no, you don't need to read it. Just sign it. And I signed for, I think it was $400 a week. That's what I was making.
Yeah. Well, beggars can't be choosers, right?
No, that's right. I was happy. I was like, all right, let's go.
Yeah. So then we haven't had a love story in a while. So how do you two crazy kids meet? You're obviously still in Amarillo.
Yeah. We met New Year's Eve.
And shout out to her for letting us stay in her house in Frankfurt.
Yeah, you met her. Yeah. We met New Year's Eve. What year was that? She said she doesn't know. 2004? Yeah. 2004, New Year's Eve. That's where we met.
Yeah. New Year's Eve where?
It was called Grand Central Station. It was the big bar that had like 5 different bars in it.
Oh. So you just approached her on a dance floor or what?
I just caught her walking through a crowd. I think I was double fisting at the time.
People from Elmira tend to do that sometimes. Yeah, it's a good look.
Yeah, I mean, it worked, right?
Well, you don't want to go to the bar again. What? You're gonna buy one drink and it's gone right away, and then what?
Right.
You gonna stand in line again?
Yeah, good thinking.
Right? Project management. Okay. Well, anyways, so that would have been early on in your Amarillo time. So then did they start giving you the hometown discount to get you to stay there because they know your gal's there?
Yeah, I mean, the one thing that happened, so the year that I went over to Denmark, then they asked me if they were gonna Oklahoma City in the Central League, because you know Denmark, it's only, I think we were done in February, maybe. We were in first round of playoffs. I don't know if it's the same now, but like the season was short.
I saw that your last year you went back there and played the playoffs, eh?
Yeah, because I mean, if we lost out the first round, I could still play enough games that someone could use me for playoffs. But the problem with the Central League was the team you played for the year before still had your rights. So I had a call from Oklahoma City, and they said, if we can make this happen, we're going to try and trade for your rights. Would you come play here for the end of the season and playoffs? I'm like, well, yeah, I'm coming back there anyways. My wife's from Amarillo. Yeah. I'll come play for you.
And then Amarillo found out you were saying that. And they're like, just play for us.
Well, yeah, he's like, well, I guess they didn't think I was coming back, or I don't know. But then the GM.
Do you want to know why they thought that was? Because of how well you had done in Denmark, and you're like, well, I probably shouldn't put Central Hockey League on my resume anymore because now I'm an established European budding star. But you were like, nah, man, I just want to play hockey.
Yeah, I mean, that's really. I was like, well, they said they'd pay for the apartment for the summer and pay me whatever and pay for the cable. And I'm like, yeah, I'll do that. And in retrospect, I had already signed with Frankfurt, and it wasn't a smart move, because if I would have got hurt, then I would have ruined
that opportunity.
Yeah. So it wasn't that smart, but at that time, I still wasn't making a ton of money. So I needed money.
Well, I guess this is totally different. I was going to ask how you got out of Denmark to the DEL, but you know what? Germany already knew what I had to offer, and nobody wanted me. And that's why, even if I had a good year in Denmark, nobody gave a shit. How did it happen for you though? Because you go over there, you play 1 year in Denmark. How do you get the deal in Frankfurt? Because that's a sought after job, right? Like a lot of people want that job.
Yeah, I'll tell you how. So we go over there, we have a little preseason, and then we go to a preseason tournament in Switzerland, and we're playing 4 games there. It's kind of like a little tournament. We're playing 3 Swiss A teams and a Finnish team from the top Finnish league. And going into it, I'm like, we're going to get killed, Yeah. But we end up, I think we might have won 1 game, and we're close in a couple others. But
is this with Rodover?
Yeah. And I had I think I had at least 2 points a game against all those teams, like finished the tournament with 8 or 9 points. But we played against EB Zug, and I want to say the coach's name was Craig Simpson, maybe. And he knew the head coach of Frankfurt, and he had called him after we had played him. I think I scored 2 goals and had an assist against his team. And he called the head coach of Frankfurt and said, you need to take a look at this guy. And that's truly how I believe I got there. I had a good year in Denmark, but just having a good year, I don't think would have got me there.
No, that's people helping people, right? It's like when a guy sees someone, it's like maybe this guy's been under the radar or something and nobody's really noticed him, but like it takes someone saying, hey, check this kid out, right?
Yeah. And that's really how it came to be. So
that's really cool. And before I forget, because I do forget sometimes, I'm having a raffle on my website. I have a website now, Honey. It's pretty wild.
What's the website called?
aleshockeytales.com. And
Okay.
we're doing a raffle. I'm making jerseys. We don't know what they're actually going to look like yet, but it's going to be like Boston Bruins colors with my logo in the middle. And I'm raffling off one of those. Prices went up because of Sam Duggan. You can argue with him. Episode a couple ago, he told me my price was too low. So price of tickets are £5 each if you want to try and win the jersey. And it's
Okay.
going to be done January 22nd.
Okay. Send me the link to the website.
Yeah, aleshockeytales.com. No, but yeah, we're gonna get shirts. We got more shirts and hats coming too. So, we're just gonna keep this thing rolling.
Nice.
Yeah.
I like it.
I always forget to talk about that stuff, so I should, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to skip over Denmark though. You lived, that's like Copenhagen, right? Rode over?
Yeah, it's just
that's
outside
the old rink, right? The cool rink.
Yeah, I guess it was older. I mean, I think they built other teams in the league have built some rinks since I played there, but Rodover's rink was all right, I thought.
Yeah, no, that's the place definitely where I cut my leg open. I cut my leg open there, and I had a young Danish doctor stitch my leg up under that arena. He put in a good 11 to 15 stitches, and so I had tried to do a spin-a-rooney on the D-man in overtime, right?
Yeah.
I would go in, cut to the middle, and then as soon as I go for it, I'd spin a Rooney around and right. Well, he whammies me in the back of the pants, and I go flying into the end walls, and my one skate cut the inside of my leg, and it was the last shift of overtime. So then we go to a shootout, and I don't know if I can skate because it felt weird. Something felt not right. And we go in the shootout and we lose before I was the last shooter. We lose before I have to go, but I go out onto the ice and it's clear I cannot stand up anymore. And I go back in the room, and this little young Danish doctor, he couldn't have been more than 25. He stitched me up in the dungiest little room in the basement of that arena. And when I took my sock off, it was like I had pig that had been sliced open. Like I could see everything on the inside of my leg. It was disgusting, man. I could see everything.
That's gross.
Yeah, man. It missed all the bad stuff though. So they stitched me up, and then I think I played. So it was fine, but it was gross looking. Oh man, I almost puked. But yeah, so rode over Denmark. Sorry, I got sidetracked.
Yeah.
That's the rink though.
Yeah, no, it was a good spot. I mean, that was my first stop over there, and I liked Denmark just because everyone spoke English, and
they're nice.
We were
right?
close. Yeah, super nice, and we were close to Copenhagen. But the first apartment they put me in there, it was like a 2-bedroom, didn't have a oven, just a couple of hot plates and a toaster oven, which I was okay with. I was fine with. But it was above a mall, is what the apartments were, above a mall. And then they started doing construction on the elevator there, and they were like jackhammering all day. And I was doing good at, for the year, and game days, this thing's going on. I can't sleep. I need my pregame nap.
Everybody needs a pregame nap. Everybody does. You need it Monday to Friday too.
I know. That's the one thing I miss the most, I think. But,
hey, I've been talking to people about it. Napping was a serious part of the game. Part of the job.
It really was. And I went to the GM. I said, I can't take a nap anymore. Like, you'll have to do something. So they put me up in a hotel for a couple of days, and then he found me a new apartment, brand new building, downtown Copenhagen, right off the river. Gave us a couple of nice bikes to ride around. I mean, I love Denmark.
They were trying to get you to stay then, or what?
Well, I think near the end of the year they wanted me to, and if they could have paid me enough, I probably would have stayed. I mean, I like Denmark.
And Copenhagen area is nice. Where I was, there wasn't quite as much to do, but it is very nice. Very nice people too. But so how does the Frankfurt thing happen though? Because you're doing well there, but who actually gets in contact with who? Do you have an agent then that does that?
Yeah, he was a Danish agent. His name was Bjarne Madsen. He's a trio of guys. He's Danish. They have a Swede, and they have I want to say last name Potvin. agent over in North America here. They have I think it's called SMG is what their agency is, but he's got all the high end Danish guys. I know they had Zetterberg and all that. So he deals with a lot of the Danish guys there. But I was at the All-Star game for the Central League, and a guy named Jeff Christian, and I want to say he played for Pittsburgh Penguins maybe a little bit, but he played in the DEL, and that was his agent. And he told Bjarni to contact me. And so he called me. I said, yeah, I'd love to go to Europe. Never had an agent before, and he's the one that got me over there. And so then when I was playing in Denmark, whoever called, they would have called him. I never talked to anyone besides him telling me, hey, Frankfurt wants to sign you, and I think you need to sign it.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I was like, okay.
What an opportunity. Okay.
Yeah.
So then you go back to Amarillo, but before we finish Amarillo, were you guys ever good? Because there was one year you scored 114 points in 64 games played. So you were obviously done with the Central Hockey League by then.
Yeah, I mean, I can't say that. If the agent didn't reach out to me, I don't know.
You would have just kept doing it, eh?
Well, I'm not sure if I would have stayed here or looked to another league. I could have went to another league. I just couldn't go to another team here. And there was lots of teams here that were paying big money, under the table stuff, like newer teams that were coming in. And but you just can't jump from team to team for some reason. They own your rights for the year after. So I don't know what I would have done if I hadn't got a call from the agent. So
okay. Well, so then you guys were you ever good? Did you ever almost win it in Amarillo?
No, never almost won it. But
No.
we made it to the playoffs, and I think we made it to the semifinals 1 or 2 years. But
you're getting 114 points. The next guy on your team had 76. And the next guy after that had 50. And I know what type of play. We already had your player review, so you must have been way better than everybody. That must have been funny to watch. And that's why Dutchy's the mayor of Elmira and can drop the puck in Amarillo, right?
That's how it happened. Yes, sir.
He mentioned that you may also be the mayor of Amarillo. But okay, so then when you get to Frankfurt, I know how it is in the DL, right? You get there, they've paid each guy a certain amount of money. And that is where they are supposed to be on the roster. First line, second line, third line. And that's basically how they pay guys. So you probably were lower end, and they were probably like, this is our fourth line center.
They would have had me third line center. Yeah.
Yeah. So then how does that first year go?
First year goes training camp, when I went over there, everyone's got this resume, NHL on the resume, all this stuff. And I'm like,
and you got Central League in Denmark.
And I'm like,
Division
oh man,
3.
this is going to be, yeah. So I go into training camp and having a good training camp. I mean, doing pretty good and having a few exhibition games. Coach actually puts me out on a 5-on-3 power play on the point. And, had a good training camp. On our way home from Italy, where we were doing our training camp, played Augsburg in a exhibition game. And in the game, a guy came and hit me, and I just kind of put my hands up like that. I ended up breaking my hand. And so I was out for the first 6 weeks of the season.
This is your first year?
Yeah. And I remember that too. So I hadn't even been in Germany yet, really. You get there a couple days, do your testing, and then we bus to Italy training camp. I finally get back. Now I got a broken hand. They take me to the hospital, say you're going to have surgery tomorrow. Trainer just drops me off. The doctor's talking to me. He's not real good English, but good enough. And he sends me home with a needle and some medicine. He's like, you got to give yourself a needle in the stomach tonight for the surgery tomorrow morning. And I'm like, what?
I can't do that. I couldn't do that. I couldn't do that. No way I could do that.
I ended up doing it. I was sitting on the couch.
I have apparently I have a thing. Okay. You can call me the P word if you want. this is like a medical condition. If I see a needle go into me, I faint, I pass out. So when I was playing for the Sugar Kings in the finals of the Sutherland Cup, they froze my hand for all the games. And if I saw the needle, I would faint. And we figured it out in Dr. Kennel's office when he froze my hand to see if it worked, to see if it was going to work so I could play the games. And I woke up in his office, and then we realized if I don't see it, it's fine. And it could work.
Yeah, no, he's like, you got to shoot this in your belly. And I'm like, what? So I'm at home that night, the night before surgery, and I stuck her right in my belly, and
you did the
showed up the next
swab
morning.
on her there then?
No, didn't do any of that. Just did one of these, did that, made sure there's no air in there.
So you had surgery on the hand. So it was pretty broken.
It was broken in a few places. I still have a screw in there. But that was my first, deal with that. So I was out the first 6 weeks.
You get BG with that?
No, I didn't get anything. I had a guy get in contact with me about BG, but I haven't heard anything back because I broke my hand twice and then I tore ligaments. But it was just your hands, the problem. You need your knees or something.
Well, my knee. But the problem is, you got to get it documented like right away when it first happens. That's the problem. Is now you go back and say, well, this happened this day. You got to have all that shit done.
Right.
Yeah, I had a lot of people help with me with that stuff, but it sounds like the ship has sailed, or I would tell you who to reach out to. You know what I mean? Maybe they could sponsor the pod. Actually, I might have to. This is a new idea. Holy moly! I only want 1%. I'm not going to tell you who yet until I talk to them. Okay. Anyways, moving on. You played. So now we're in Frankfurt, eh? You played there for 3 years.
Yeah.
And what year? I would have been there 2008. So I don't know what year you had been there. You seemed pretty comfortable. You had a full house by that point.
That would have been my second year, I want to say. Maybe. Second year?
Well, when you're in Germany, most people live in apartments, and you guys had a house you guys had a dog, didn't you?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Like with a backyard. People in Germany don't have houses and backyards.
Yeah, that thing was huge. We had a huge backyard, but typical German house, like real small but we love that house. Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess Frankfurt as a city, that's a pretty cool city, eh?
Yeah, it was a good city, like a modern, you lived in Germany, like it was a modern city. I guess everything got bombed and they built it up kind of. Yeah, like almost like North American a little bit, I guess. But.
Yeah, it was different than the towns I played in, right? I was in a lot of the older. Yeah.
Right.
Okay. Where of all the places you played is your favorite food?
Probably. I mean, it was all good. There was good food at every place. I guess Germany. I don't really remember Danish food all that much.
I don't either. Other than the hot dogs. Did you eat a lot of hot dogs in Denmark?
I don't even remember.
You wouldn't remember.
It was kind of normal food. It wasn't like.
Yeah, it is normal food. It's not like they don't have their staples, right? They're just doing what everybody else is doing.
Yeah, kind of. And German food, I mean, we grew up in Elmira, that's German area. So I wasn't like a real change going to Germany either, really. So
no, but they had a few things, just a few techniques in the kitchen that were a little bit better than what we're doing around Elmira.
Right. But, I remember my old man coming over and I was like, the pig knuckle and all that. He's like, oh, you gotta get those at the Heidelberg Hotel and all this stuff. So I'm like,
well, and the other thing is like I went over there. I'm like, you can't get this shit in Elmira. Like, you can't get this in Canada. Then I went to the St. Jacobs Market. I'm like, there's the Vice versa Zeus Semp right there. I better take that home and put it in the hot water.
Yeah,
and get a pretzel. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Yeah,
Yeah.
you're right. There are definitely some Germans around Elmira. Okay. So you're in there, you're in Frankfurt for 3 years. So the contracts and the money must have gone up. How long are your deals when you're in Germany? I
So
was
the
1 year
first,
my whole career. 1 year my whole career.
yeah, my first year was a 1 year deal. Then I signed a 2 year with Frankfurt after that around Christmas time.
That's right after the broken hand.
Yeah, I
You
played like
signed a
maybe a
2-year
month.
deal right after that.
Yeah, I played maybe a month and they wanted to re-sign me.
So they
For
knew
2
what
years.
they knew what they had.
I don't know, but I was like, okay, maybe if I held out, I would have got more money. But I was like, yeah, that gave me some stability, and I was fine with it. And then Frankfurt folded, obviously, or else I think I probably would have played there. I would think my whole career. I don't think I would have left there. Went to Straubing on a 1 year deal.
And yeah, so don't try and go too fast on me here, okay? Because now you're in Straubing, and that's what
Yeah.
so you go bankrupt. That had to have been late, because why you going to Straubing? Because you're now an established DEL player, and you're 3 years into it now, and you're getting like, so hold on, your last year in Frankfurt, 50 points and 55 games played, and that's on a bigger budget team before they go bankrupt. And then you go to small budget Straubing.
Yeah. I got a call July 4th, and you know what time you need to be over there for training camp, around July 26th.
Ugh,
So I get a call after the July 4th weekend. We were up at her family's cabin in the mountains, and I heard we went bankrupt. So then I'm like, oh God, now what? So
and a lot of jobs are gone at that point.
Right. And all those guys that I play with are looking for jobs, and all the imports a lot of them are filled already. So I got my agent talked to 2 teams. They're both kind of lower end teams, Wolfsburg and Straubing. Wolfsburg wanted to sign me to a 2-year deal. And I was debating that, but every time they would send the contract over, I'm like, this isn't what we agreed on. And he'd be like, okay, I'll send it back. And it just was never. And then I was like, you know what? I want to go to Straubing, because they were telling me, all right, you're going to be our first line center. And I said, all right, I'll take that 1-year deal. I'll bet on myself. If I can have a great year, then I can sign wherever I want. Yeah. So that's what I did.
Okay. Makes sense. Yeah, makes sense. And then you go to Straubing, and then what'd you get? Like a point a game, didn't you?
Yeah, I started out really good. I was over a point a game for a long time, and then I think I just got too relaxed. And
that happens too, though. I did that in Bietigheim.
And then a guy I played with, Lee Gorin, who was one of the better players I ever played with over there. He ended up, him and the coach got in a fight, and he left the team. He ended up going to the Swedish league. But the next game, or the second game after he left, I got hit from behind into the boards, and I tore tendons in my thumb. And so I was done for the year. But I had already signed with Ingolstadt before that had happened. You know, you could sign with a team.
Isn't it bizarre
for a team?
Isn't it bizarre?
Yeah, it is. And like, as soon as I did that and word got out, I mean, home fans, they're holding up signs about how terrible a person I am. And you're like, well, I mean.
Oh, man. So I didn't know German, right, when I first went over there. And the first year, I show up for a practice, and last episode, the guy I just said hi to on New Year's Eve, Clippy, all of a sudden I show up for practice, and there's like 6 news cameras there. I'm like, what's going on? And they're like, well, they just found out Clippy signed in Bietigheim next year. This is when we're in Landshut. And I'm like, what do you mean? We're on Landshut this year. How is he signed somewhere else? And they're like, you can do that here. You just sign wherever, whenever you want. And I'm like, what?
Yeah.
But then what really happens in Germany or in Europe, folks, if you're over there and you haven't signed by January or February, your mind starts playing tricks on you. When other people aren't calling and like things aren't happening yet, you're like, well, this is when it happens. What's going on, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, you gotta you got to cash in when you can. I mean, it's like anything. And I would have stayed in Straubing. They had offered me to keep me, but I was like, no, that's not going to do it. Like,
No.
I probably would have stayed there if they would have like came with a good offer. But my old coach from Frankfurt was now coaching Ingolstadt.
And
then
you have that relationship and it's comfortable and you're going to get paid more. And it's like, well, that's a no brainer.
Yeah. And he called me and it was a 2-year deal and for good money. And I was like, all right. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. Ingolstadt is, and that's what people that might not know about this is in Germany, there's about what you'd say there's like 2 teams that are the highest end budgets, Mannheim, Berlin, and then there's like 4 under that, maybe Ingolstadt, or like, what do you think?
I would say there's probably at least 5 higher end teams, Mannheim,
that
Cologne,
have a chance
Berlin.
of winning, right? That like really each year have a chance of winning.
Yes, like their budget. I don't know what you compare it to in other sports, but like I guess baseball, where the Dodgers, the Yankees, their budget is way bigger than the Oakland A's or whatever. So like those teams' budgets are way higher than the Straubings or the Wolfsburgs or teams like that. But Ingolstadt actually had, I mean, they can pay. I mean, Audi's one of their main sponsors. They have a lot of good sponsors. So, I mean, that's where,
and that's what it's all about. Yeah, it's all sponsors. So maybe the Shed should get a sponsor one of these days. Because Bayfield Brewing Company, I only got 2 beers left. So I hope you're still my sponsor. And if you haven't emailed them and let them know what the Shed means to you, please do. So they're still my sponsor in 2022 before their budget meeting. Because this is a Snook Stout, named after Ryan O'Reilly, who's also a hockey player, just like all of us that didn't make it. Right?
I like it. That's a good can there.
Yeah, it is. And they gave me the glass too. And that's what I've been drinking out of for like the last 80 episodes.
Nice.
So just hoping everybody emails them and lets them know how important this is to them and to me, because hopefully I can get more beers because they're the best around. And I love the Bayfield Brewing Company. So let them know if you guys like the Shed and the beers. Oh God. Okay. I got a random question because I don't have that many guys on that play in Germany. First Autobahn experience.
Loved it.
I got to tell you my story then. I've been in Germany for 2 weeks. I haven't really drove. And Brand Dietrich, who gets me the Landshut Germany, says his parents are coming in on the exact same flight as my wife. They're coming in on the same flight. So he's got like kid and wife now. And I got my own car and he goes, okay, follow me to the airport. And then before we get in the cars, he says, just so you know, when you get on the highway, stay to the right, but the faster you drive, the faster you get there. What's the fastest you ever went?
Fastest I ever went, I think I got it up to 230 kilometers an hour, maybe.
I only got her. I never had, like, I was a second league player, right? I didn't get the cars that had that power. I got her up to 190.
Yeah, I would, because Ingolstadt wasn't far from Munich. So like when Lacey's parents or my parents would come, we'd hop in the car and we'd drive it, on the Autobahn. It's 35 minutes. So, yeah, I had her grandmother and her mother in the car. And I think I was going just 180, but I was going 180. And
panic attack?
Well, Lacey's grandma was kind of like, how fast are we going? And Lacey's mom's like, you don't want to know. But it wasn't like you were out of control either. I mean, on the Autobahn, it's like you're driving on the flattest, nicest road you've ever drove on. So.
You don't feel like you're driving that fast because everybody else is driving that fast.
Yeah, I mean, you're going 180 and you got someone coming up flashing their lights behind you and you get over and they're like, zoom.
The only parts I always found that were kind of scary-ish were when you could hear something coming and you were like, because everybody always says, like, if you're not going fast, if you're not fast, move over like that,
Right.
move over. But you could hear something coming behind you. And then all of a sudden it'd be like a Ferrari or something, right? And it would just go by you and like, I don't know how fast they were going.
Right. Yeah. I would say that all the time. I'm like, I'm going this fast. I don't know how fast that car is going. Like,
it's hard to picture.
Yeah. But yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah. So anyways, that was my first experiences with Brandon Dietrich. Hopefully he'll come to the shed someday and talk about it.
He better come on here.
Seriously. You know, that night when his parents showed up that night, I think we even had like the picture of the game sheet because he had asked me to, or I told the team about me to come over to be his line mate. And that game when his parents showed up and Lisa showed up, we each had 2 goals and 2 assists. And it was first the goal and the first assist for each one. And we had the picture and it was like, yeah, good work. Yeah. Thanks, Brandon, for bringing me over.
Yeah. Well, he better get on here then.
You would think so, right?
You would think so.
Think so. Okay. Anyways, in Germany, you had your kids there, so you got to take them on the ice and all that fun stuff.
Oh yeah.
That's fun, eh?
Yeah, it is. Logan was a little younger by the time I was winding down. He was more, I mean, in Ingolstadt a little bit where, you just hold on to him and your back hurts the next day. But he finally started pushing things around, I think, when we were in Austria. I think he was 3 in Austria. So, yeah, pushing the penguin, as you're skating
pushing
around.
the penguin. Yeah. No, my kids never got old enough to be skating around. They would just be running, but it still is pretty cool when like the fans take a shining to your kids, right?
Yeah, well, I always thought it was fun after a game, after you win, the crowd's like take a knee and you got to sit there and they're like, I always take the kids out there, and I don't know if they really remember that or not, but it was pretty cool.
It would be. And like, you do not find it interesting, German fans, how they would absolutely love you with a win. But if you lost, like it was like you actually offended them as a person.
Yes, they take it so serious. And I know sports fans here have their teams and they take it serious, but like, I remember the year we won it, we were having a terrible year and we lost to Augsburg, who's our rival. And they had to have the cops because our fans were outside of our bus and we couldn't get to our bus. And they had to have the cops escort us onto the bus. And I'm like, this is going a little too far.
That the fans are going to hurt you for not playing good.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I was like, but then that's the year we won it. So, I mean,
in Garmisch, right? And that's the other thing is then on the other side is they can be the nicest people in the world when you're doing well.
Well, I think it's where you play too, because in Frankfurt was such a big city. Like you had your mainstay fans, but like, I think it was a lot of business people that came to the games and things. There wasn't as hardcore, but like when I went to the Bavaria area and like Ingolstadt, it only sat, I want to say 5,000 people, but they were hardcore hockey fans. And like, that's when it was like, I think they believe they're part of the team. Like when you don't do good, that offends them. And, I don't know.
Well, and then like beating Heim against Hellbron, win or lose, like they're late. Like the other, I heard of fans at Bietigheim got suspended from the arena for like half a season or the rest of the season, like for literally getting a full blown, like it's like that movie about the soccer brawlers, right? It's like the same thing. And they're doing it over the hockey games. We're going to go out and play. Like, are you serious?
Right. Yeah. They're intense, man. It's crazy, but you got to love the atmosphere over there compared to, playing back here. It's
not even similar, is it?
Yeah, no, not even close.
It's like you've never played in front of fans that like actually get excited for goals and like actually show their emotion and like aren't scared about what everybody else is thinking of them. Right.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It's cool. It was a cool experience playing over there, man.
Did you ever have to do the train after a game where you do the snake, where everybody grabs the guy's skates in front of you and you snake around the ice
I
as a
think I had
team?
to do it. Yeah, I think I had to do it once in Straubing, maybe, but I wasn't a big fan of
As
that.
soon as I did it, I'm like, that is the stupidest thing I've ever done. And then they're all up there like chanting and
Oh,
like
yeah.
telling you guys have to do it. And it's like, this is like a mob scene where they're telling us what we have to do. And I don't like this.
Yeah. No, yeah, that's exactly the way it worked. Yeah.
Yeah.
But some guys like that stuff, but I didn't.
I'd like some of it, but not when I'm being told what to do. I'd rather do it on my own. Right.
Yeah.
I'd like to make those decisions. Okay, so when you won it in Ingolstadt, that would have been fun though. They would have really liked you then.
Oh yeah, that was big time, man. Like I think because
Had they won it before?
I think they won the second league, I want to say, but I don't know what year they won the second league. But they had been close a few times before I got there. They've always had decent teams. I always hated playing against Ingolstadt, but the year we won it, I think we made the pre-qualification. I think we're ninth place, maybe. Yeah.
What? The year you won it?
Yeah. And we played Berlin, who was like won the last 5 out of 6 in the pre-qualification. And we lost the first game in Berlin, won the second game at home, best 2 out of 3. And then we beat them 1-0 in overtime in Berlin. And then we had to play each of the top teams because we were the qualifier. And then we ended up playing Cologne, which Robbie came back to play for Cologne that year. And then we were up 3-2 playing at home. We lost in overtime. And when they scored in overtime, Robbie speared one of our guys and was kicked out for game 7. And we ended up beating them in Cologne in game 7.
Okay. I have heard that story.
Yeah. I don't know if we win that game if Robbie's playing, but.
Well, Robbie is, like we've mentioned, he was the most skilled hockey player that I've ever seen.
Yeah, he's pretty good. And he went there for the playoffs, and he was having a good playoffs.
He was running amok, you could say.
Yeah, 15 or 16 points he had already, and then he got booted for spearing a guy. I mean, it wasn't terrible. Our guy was.
Isn't it an interesting world though that 2 Elmira Sugar Kings are playing for the German championship? Like that, you guys are the 2 guys I'm watching, and you know what? Whether he speared the guy or not, that is neither here nor there. But I watched him play a lot for the Elmira Sugar Kings on that playoff drive. And let's just say those things could happen on route to the championship.
Yes, I agree. But like you say, I mean, I remember playing for the Sugar Kings, taking a face off. Jamie Wright is out there dropping the puck after the World Juniors,
Yeah.
And then I end up playing with Jamie in
Frankfurt. And that was when I came to see you. Yeah. And he's from Elmira too.
Yeah.
It was the whole thing.
Elmira, man.
Spider web of hockey players, right?
Yeah.
So did you have a parade after you won in Germany?
Yes, we did. We all hopped in the Audi cars and ended up doing a parade route and ended up going downtown to I don't know, it's the building where you get your visas and all that. I forget, Rosthaus or Rotsplatz or something like that.
Yeah. I know
and they had a balcony there and it was just full of people and they would call everyone out one at a time. You brought the trophy out.
Did you say something, but nothing in German, just straight English?
No, you didn't say anything. They just, you had to raise the trophy 3 times. The fans would.
Do that.
Yeah. So, but no, it was cool. And we got they bought us all Breitling watches instead of rings. We decided to go with Breitling watches that they bought us after we won. And
that's really nice. That's are those expensive? I don't know. Cause in the second league in Germany, I got a medal that is rusted and I don't have the strap for it anymore.
Yeah, no, they're expensive watches. And then the next year we lost. We were going to get Rolexes, but we lost. So But we all thought it was better than a ring just because you can actually wear it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I can't wear watches, but yeah. Do you wear it?
I do pretty
You
much
do?
every day.
There you go. Okay. Well, you got to be proud of that because I can't imagine winning this first league. I won the second league, and I'm pretty proud of that.
Yeah. Any championship. I still got my Sugar Kings ring.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. And that's the thing is when your player review though, like is like your teams win. Like you're a winner. That's why you're always on the defensive side of the puck and you're one of the top players on the team. Like that's what teams need to win. The teams that have the guys that don't do both don't win, right?
Well, the first year I went to Frankfurt, I remember having my team meeting with the coach. His name was Rich Chernemez. And he said, we brought you in here. We knew you were pretty good offensively, but I didn't know if you were any good defensively. And he's like, you're pretty good both sides. So good job this year. We'll see you next year. And I was like, all right, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, everybody plays like their personality. So when you made Team Canada, that must have been something wild because a kid from Elmira that was just almost done in midget, then makes junior B, then goes Division 3. You make Team fucking Canada.
Yeah. Yeah, I was beyond.
How do you find out?
You get a phone call and my coach called me. He's like, hey, would you want to play on Team Canada for the Deutschland Cup? I'm like, yes, of course. And he's like, I guess because, some of these guys have done it before. So they're like,
they just pass it up. They want to go on a vacation.
Take their break.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, yeah, I'm there.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, I got to play the first year we won that I got to play, and then I got to play again, and that's the one picture I sent you. Messier was our coach, and we didn't do very good that year.
Was he your head coach?
He was. Yeah, but that was his first kind of stint of trying to get into the coaching. So it just didn't work all that well. But I mean, I remember telling Lacey
when you were playing for Canada, were you talking like this?
No, probably not quite as bad.
No.
But I remember telling Lacey when we first got to the hotel and Messier called a little meeting, everyone was there. And I was like elbowing her, like, that's Messier.
Yeah.
That's Messier.
Yeah.
And he still, he just walked in, his shoulders are like this. And I was like, yeah, it was pretty cool. I got to sat and talk with him for a little bit. It was good stuff.
Oh, for sure. But that would have been really cool. So then did you guys do any good with Team Canada the other year? You were there. How many times you play for them? 2 years?
Yeah, I played 2 years. The first year we won, and then the second year, I think we finished third. We didn't do that good that year.
And it's Canada, which is the best players in Germany usually, and then they get them from all the other European leagues as well.
They can. My first year we might have had one guy from maybe Switzerland or something. And then the next year, I think we had a couple from other countries. I think now they're actually pulling from all sorts of countries that are playing over there. But when I first started, it was mostly guys from Germany.
Well, I'll never forget, speaking of the small world, was like, obviously I go over to Germany. I fought where you're there, Collins is there, but I get hurt my knee and I go to Ortima, which is where I do my rehab. I got my brace and I show up, and the big van with a German guy playing a Canadian guy on the side of the van is Rob Collins.
Oh, was it?
Yeah. And I was like, this is a really small world that I drive up here and Rob Collins is on the side of that van.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
weird. He was big
stuff.
time. They called him the professor over there. That was the nickname for him, the professor.
Well, it's that in the summer, I go out and skated with him a couple times, and I don't like feeling dumb. And when he would come up to me through the neutral zone and I would feel dumb after, and I was like, what happened there? right?
Yeah, he does the old like around the puck. Yeah.
Where do you think I got it, folks? Where do you think I got it from, folks? I was watching every game. Oh gosh, yeah. So, anyways, so then when you're done in Ingolstadt, how does it end that they're like, okay, you're not coming back here this year?
So
You're there, what, 4 years? 4 years.
4 years. My last year, I didn't have a very good year. So we won it the year before, and then I don't know what happened, but we got a new coach for some
After
reason.
you win it.
Yes. And I don't know if we had a Swedish coach the year we won it. I don't know if he was trying to hold out for a job in Mannheim or something like that, but whatever happened, they went and hired a guy named Larry Huris, who's from our area. I don't know if you know that name.
He's a former Sugar King and Potter.
Yeah. Yeah. And me and him just did not see eye to eye through the year. And I don't know if he called me in the summer when I was up visiting the folks who I haven't seen in 3 years, and he wanted me to come over to his cottage. He's got a cottage somewhere up there. And I said, no, I'm going to see you in a week. You know, I haven't been up here in 3 years. I'll just see you over there. And I don't know if he held the grudge or what, but me and him just did not get along. And just wasn't a fun year. I didn't have a fun year, even though we did really well.
Yeah.
And so, you know how it works. They were basically, and I was older too. I was 35 maybe at the end of that year. And I was going to be done after that. And I said, I had a buddy that was playing in Innsbruck. His name's Jeff Elmira, and he wanted me to come play there. And I'm like, you know what? Yeah, all right, I'll play one more year. And went there. Our team wasn't very good, but it was a beautiful city. But yeah, I probably should have hung it up after that year. But
instead of going to Innsbruck?
Yeah, probably. My mind just wasn't in it playing. I just wasn't, I don't know, just wasn't.
You didn't enjoy it enough? Like,
yeah, no, it wasn't fun just because our team just was not good. We were
well,
losing,
that's the
and
problem, right? Is like everybody goes different routes, and like you're either doing it for the money or you're doing it for this or that. But like I could see it, like you've been making good money, you've been on the top teams, and then you still want to play, but you end up in Innsbruck in Austria, who's a small budget team. Your team's going to lose, and it's not going to be fun, right?
Yeah, no, it wasn't. And, you know, for me, I kind of went there to see a new city, be in a nice city, kind of have fun, maybe not necessarily on the ice, but maybe a little bit off the ice. But when you're not having fun on the ice, then it's just not fun.
But it's the same on the ice and off the ice, right? You gotta be having fun all the time. And like,
right. Yeah. Yeah. You gotta have,
you gotta enjoy life to play good,
yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, but,
yeah. So in the car sales world, how many hours you got to work a week?
A lot.
Yeah, I could see you're starting to fade on me. I've seen you're trying to fight yawning, but you're like, you know what? I haven't talked about hockey in so long. This is great.
Well, that comes with 3 kids, buddy. 3 kids.
Yeah, you're right.
No, I work Monday through Saturday. I get Tuesdays off. But it's pretty lax place. Like if I need to go do something or need time off, they're like, yeah, just go. I mean, you're on commission, so if you're not there, you're not making any money. So,
right.
But it's the biggest dealership here. We sell the most cars, and I'm doing pretty good. So I can't complain with it. I'm not shy to go to work. You know, I saw Elmira boys. You know,
well, that's what it is, right? Yeah, there's not many people that went to Elmira High School that are lazy folks. I wouldn't say.
Right, I wouldn't think so either. Yeah.
No. And, you know, it's interesting growing up around the Mennonite fellas because you don't see it that often until you get older. But like when you grow up around the fellas that like their grandparents or parents may have been like old order Mennonites or whatever, but like the work ethic they have, like they don't even realize how hard they're working. But then I see that, and like the people you grow up with, like, teach you how to be right.
Mm-hmm.
You know, well, I
see there's Mennonites around here. I'm not sure what order or what they are. You know, they got the bonnets and everything. when they come in, they're car buyers. They have thousands and thousands of dollars down, great credit. They're just hardworking people that do things right. So whenever I see them come on the lot, I'm like, oh, that's my guy.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That's where I can bond.
Yeah. So.
Oh man. Well, I don't know. Do you got anything else for me before we shut her down?
No, buddy. What are you doing now? Where are you working?
I'm into heat treatment. I'm the engineering technical supervisor at Superheat in Kincardine.
Okay.
We do heat treatment all over the world for welds in power plants and refineries, and my team kind of does the drawings for those and how to set it all up and whatnot.
That's cool. And how many kids you got?
2. Yeah, boy and a girl. And yeah, the son is so into hockey, it's scary. Yeah, weird. New Year's Eve, he said to me, we were like talking of whatever, we're doing like our New Year's thing, and we're like, what are we gonna do this New Year's? And he had lost our team. I'm the coach. We lost in a shootout in Silver Stick finals, and his thing for the next year was they're gonna win the Silver Stick.
Well, there you go.
Yeah,
I remember those turnies.
Yeah, he is determined. So
well, that's good, man. That's good.
Yeah, he's into her. But no, seriously, thank you for making the time. I know you're busy. You got 3 kids, and yeah, we're all busy, but like for making the time for me, thank you. And I hope whoever listens to this from Elmira, thanks for making us the guys we are, even if he talks this way, right? And this has been another episode of 2 Ales and Hockey Tales with Hahn and Wally.